Hey, YouTube friends. Wanted to let you know that we're going to be trying something new. I've been thinking about this for a couple months, but it seems like there is a need and a desire to have a midweek sort of unfiltered debrief about everything that's going on. And so, like, for instance, tomorrow, January 11th at noon, we're going to do our first trial of it. So we've got lots to talk about. For instance, we've started into a new series called Where the Rubber Meets the Road. This past week, Sarah was at the table and she was talking to us about making decisions when you're at a crossroads. And when you have too many inputs in your life, how do you make that decision? And what it means for your identity, depending on which way you decide to go. That was a fantastic conversation. And I've already got email from somebody who saw it a little bit different of a way, and several comments later in the day about some things that were said. And so we're going to take time to actually debrief that. And so I'll read the comments, whether that's on Facebook or on YouTube or on the email. So we've got lots to talk about there. The second thing is I've started doing these little lessons or homilies about having a well-rounded faith. And so they're not like full-length sermons, because when we are at the table, that's the main event for the day. But it at least gives us some things to talk about as far as individuals and as a community, how to have a well-rounded faith, because we live in an age where things seem to be not just out of balance, but so chaotic that it can be disorienting. And so I talked about that on Sunday, the idea of the Wesleyan quadrilateral and what happens when you're missing any one of those four elements from your faith, how it can be not only unsatisfying, but actually a little bit dangerous. So that's going to be fun to talk about. And you can find that stuff. I'll be putting it up on YouTube and on Facebook today so that you can watch it either today, Tuesday, or Wednesday morning ahead of our Wednesday midweek debrief, where I'll be honest, the thing I'm most excited about is that on Sundays, I have to speak in my pastoral voice. It's my job. But there's a lot of conversations that happen behind the scenes or, after our engagements, our gatherings, where I can speak a little more unguarded and be unfiltered. And so I thought that it would be fun to exercise that midweek in response to the questions or the comments that come in, and to just really share my heart and my ideas and what worked and what didn't work. So I don't have to be on, and it'll just be a completely different way of engaging with each other. So I'm excited about that. Another thing we can talk about is we have a Sunday school class called BS with Bo, or Brainstorming with Bo, where right now what we're doing is people are sending in articles about topics that they want to talk about, and then we debrief them. And so this week, what we're going to be reading is an article called Americans Are Spending Too Much Time Alone. And so that's going to generate some really good conversation. It started to already last Sunday. And then another article is coming out about this study that was done that says that men, and specifically young men, are really suffering from not having enough friendships. And so I'm sure there'll be lots to talk about there. Another thing we can talk about is that on Sunday afternoon, we started a new spiritual practice. It's sort of guided journaling. The topic is moving from aging to saging. And it's about how to access the wisdom that is within you and to move into being a person of wisdom, or an elder, or however you want to talk about that. So much came up because in our first meeting, we had people in their 20s, 30s, 40s. I'm not 50 yet. I turned 50 this year, so not 50s, 60s and 70s. And the different insights and perspectives that were brought actually brought out so many things. There's a lot to talk about, because we live in a time where age, on one hand, people are accused of ageism. And on the other hand, we have this generation of boomers and older who are coming into retirement and feel like maybe they're being put on a shelf, that their opinion isn't as desirable, that they're not hip, or they're not wanted, and maybe even in communities that they're not coming into positions of influence and leadership like they had hoped to. But being part of a multi-generational congregation like we are affords us the ability to be countercultural in that sense. And so we're trying to be really deliberate and intentional about how to bring out different people's voices. It's one of the great things about being a conversational community and an interactive congregation is that different perspectives, multi-generational engagement always brings out just a rich tapestry, if you will, of insights and perspectives. And I love it. And so it's one of the real strengths that I love about this community and this approach to church. Bible study is starting up tomorrow night. We have a very sassy and irreverent group who engages the text. We're reading through the Gospel of John right now. We're up to John chapter 6. And there are parts of it we really like, and there are parts of it we're not enjoying very much. And so there's always lots to talk about there. So all of that is to say that we're going to be trying this new thing, the midweek debrief, Wednesdays at noon as of right now, unless we find out that there's a better time for people. But right now, that's what we're going to try. And so I'll be reading comments that come in on YouTube and Facebook, emails that are sent, and reporting about questions, comments, concerns, pushback that happen live after the gatherings. So lots to do. I'm looking forward to it, that I can be sort of not in that professional office as much, but sort of more off the cuff and unguarded, an unfiltered response to say like, yeah, maybe that could have gone better, or maybe I wouldn't have said that again, or maybe draw out some things that somebody says, I don't understand. And I'll say, oh, let me tell you, the thing that was going on that you may not know about is this blah, 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 whatever. So I'm looking forward to it. And I hope that you will plan on being a part of it. Let me know if you have any questions, comments, concerns, suggestions about how to make this a good thing. And I hope to see you then.